All right, welcome everybody to our quarterly update on Visit NC and everything that's going on. Thanks for joining us. We'll have several different of our directors present as we go on. Just going to give a few more seconds for some folks to jump in, and then we'll get rolling. All right, guys, as soon as you think we've got a good amount of people coming in, go ahead and roll to the first slide and I'll get us rolling. Yeah, so all right, welcome folks. And if you have any questions, just pop them into the chat. We'll answer them sort of at the end of the presentation. I'm going to start off. This is a quarterly update, so I'm going to talk a little about some of the things we're seeing, just overall trends in tourism. Start with a little bad news. As many of you may have seen, STR and Tourism Economics have downgraded their hotel forecast for lodging for the next year or two. What we're seeing in the market is a lot of uncertainty, fear of economic issues. Those things are always bad for travel. Travel is not a necessity. So just a warning that we're seeing that. That's the bad news. Now, the next slide is the positive news. And that's we just recently did a study with MMGY, and perception of North Carolina is actually more positive than general perception for most places. So those are really good signs. Interest in visiting North Carolina has increased significantly, and we have more positive travel outlook than the average U.S. leisure destination. Typically, in times of recession, times of economic uncertainty, we as a state tend to fare pretty well. We're in a great location. We're easily drivable. We're not seen as an expensive place. So even though the outlook overall for travel is somewhat depressed, I think we're still positive on visitation to the state. Another thing that came up recently that I wanted to showcase was is this Civitas organization did a study of lodging taxes by region, but also by destination, and some of the destinations, popular tourism destinations across the country. And so it's a good look to see where we stand tax-wise versus some of our competitors. So this will be available. We're going to put it up on our partner site, partners.visitnc.com. It'll be under the ancillary tourism research. I recommend you guys go take a look at it. And if you can't find it there, just email me and I'll send you a copy of it. It's a really good study. All right, we're going to kick off first with research. So we'll introduce Marlise Taylor. Take it away, Marlise.
Hey, everybody. It's good to be here with you all today. Just one quick note. We released the visitor spending estimates about 3 weeks ago, and know all of you have gotten them. But I would be remiss without, talking about that just a little bit, because that was big news. We had 10 counties actually that saw double-digit growth as compared to 2023. So you can see them here. Again, the state's growth was about 3%. So positive news there. As always, if you all need that data, it is on our partner site, partners.visitnc.com/research. So just a quick reminder about that. All right, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in 2025. That was 2024. So as you all know, we created this visitor economy index a few years ago, and really what it's doing is helping us understand the overall health of the tourism industry. So not just what lodging data is telling us, which that's a big part of it, but it's also looking at spending and visitation data. So unfortunately, the index has been negative for most of 2025. But looking into the specific data that feeds into the index, while some of the decline we do believe is due to the hurricane, we've dug in a little bit deeper to better understand this trend. And what we're seeing is that the index is actually being affected more by spend than visitation. So we're still seeing people visiting. Our demand numbers, while they're a little sluggish, as I'll show you in a few slides, it's really the spend, the credit card spend in market that we're seeing down. It's down about 12% year over year. And our vendor who provides this data to us tells us that they work with multiple other tourism clients, and this is something we're seeing universally. So there are concerns, financial concerns, inflation concerns, and so people are still visiting, but they are, trading down and they're not spending as much off or in addition to their lodging. So lodging demand and spend are fairly flat from last year, as you will see in subsequent slides. So this is really indicating that visitation isn't really the driving factor of the decrease in the index, but that visitors are likely spending less on those non-accommodation travel categories. You will also see the vacation rentals are up, which confirms that decrease in spend is coming from elsewhere. So if you go to the next slide, please, we'll look at a little, oops, I'm sorry, can you go back one more? There we go. So this is just the lodging through July. Don't quite have August data yet. So again, lodging does remain a little sluggish through the first half of the year. Even those rentals, which have been strong the last several years, are only up slightly from last year. So, I'm not saying visitation is driving all the good, but we're still seeing, some up numbers there. Rates remain strong though, so that helps the revenue stay out of the red for the year. So that's some good news there. So working with CoStar and STR, previously shown y'all that statewide demand was up 1% last year in 2024. That's hotel motel demand. The current quarterly forecast, so through January of 27 here, shows this year ended up fairly flat, and then 2026 starting off just a little bit better, but really we're looking at a couple of flat years coming up in terms of hotel demand in North Carolina. In terms of those managed vacation rentals, we are able to look at data through key data. And so as of September 1st, guest nights booked at those traditional vacation rentals for the remainder of 25 through February of 26 are down about 4.3% from last year and are actually down about 10% from 2023. The average booking window for this time period, so for September through February, is similar to 23, 24, and it's about a half week shorter than last year. So note that these are just bookings from September through January, and these are reservations that are already on the book. So this is not a forecast per se, but this is what has already been booked. So I would say, with the booking window just a little bit shorter, I would say there's still a little time to play catch up, but not as much as you might have seen in recent months. Length of stay has remained fairly consistent for these type of rentals. So. Okay, so in terms of those more, the shared economy, in a similar vein, we get 6 months of future booking data for those kind of shared economy rentals. So the current pacing, September through February, is down about 4.5% from last year. But the booking window here is about a week shorter than it was 3 years ago. Length of stay, again, has remained consistent. So again, here we still have time to kind of play catch up, but maybe not as much as we had thought before. So we need to try to, close that gap a little bit, if you will. So mountain recovery research, we are, wrapping up almost a year's worth of research. So I just wanted to show you where we are as of the last report that we received. We've done 8 tracking studies now, and we should have our data from our 9th study coming in pretty soon. You can see here highlighted, those are the hurricane-related reasons for not being interested in visiting the mountain region in the next year. So concern about the region's readiness is greatly improved from November of last year, but still some concern from some potential travelers in our various markets. Specifically, verbatim changes or improvements that could make visitors feel more comfortable visiting the region, or they want to hear positive news as to the recovery efforts. They want confirmation that the region is ready for visitors. But still some good news there. You can see that the worry about accessibility to the destination is negligible. So definitely good positive trending there. And I know Scott's going to talk about, marketing that we've done as a result of these improvements in perceptions. We also have some perceptions with other parts of the state that we're still working to remedy as well. So I think what we've learned through this is that there's a basic lack of geographic knowledge in our markets and probably in all markets. So, really, this is telling us we really need to stay out there and continue to drive that message that we're open and ready for visitors. I think that is my last slide. So I will now turn it over to Scott Peacock for his marketing update.
Thanks, Marlise. All right, I wanted to first talk about how things are going with our mountain recovery campaign that's running for the western part of the state. Uh, Quick little update for everybody. It's been doing really well performance-wise. We're driving a fair amount of impressions to our landing page, which we've been doing ever since the storm hit. And the campaign really got up and running with a paid effort behind it from an appropriation from the state legislature in November of last year. So we're coming up on the 1 year mark of having a campaign dedicated and running for the West. Good engagement for the content that we do have, and I'll talk a little bit about that creative and that content adjustment that we made recently as well. We did receive an additional $5 million in appropriation, so that brings the grand total that we've had to use for this campaign up to $14 million. So what we're going to do with that last appropriation that we got is reallocate a little bit more of the funds out of state. As we've mentioned before, this campaign is one of the rare times where we have been doing some marketing in state and added North Carolina residents as part of our audience segment for it. But the data that we have been seeing from our lease and the team has been showing that our creative has been performing a little bit less impactfully in state as of late. And we think that's because you all are doing such a great job of marketing and promoting in state that it's just kind of getting a little bit diluted. So we want to step out of the way of you guys reaching in-state residents. And so we're going to shift more of our dollars that we had to out of state, which is really, as you all know, our main lane and where we try to stay with things. And then we've also added markets into the mix. So with this additional $5 million that we got, we're able to add in New York and DC, some pretty important target markets for us to help round out the campaign, increased our budget for content creators on top of paid advertising, because that's been a really good marketing channel for us throughout this campaign. And then ask additional support for some more sponsored content. And the reason we are bullish on sponsored content is because it allows us to control that message. So most readers view it as an editorial piece of content, but really it allows us to work with the publication and the media vendor to kind of really control that message and make sure that it's forward looking and not always looking back, which we know is extremely important for our partners out west. We made a pivot in the campaign creative. It was the campaign slogan was our best way to get back is for you to come back, as you guys are familiar with. And because of the research and the perception data that Marlise just showed and how we were moving the needle, we did go ahead and make a change. And so for the remainder of the campaign, and this went into effect in July, the new tagline is Rediscover the Unforgettable. So that is the campaign tagline from July through December, getting us through the end of the year here. Next slide. We've got some new creative for it. You guys are welcome to take a look at that. This will take you to our YouTube page, or just remember, just go to YouTube and search Visit NC, and then look for the Rediscover the Unforgettable playlist that we've got there. And you can see some of the ads and how those are doing and what they look like. We were gracious enough to be able to partner with Eric Church, who has provided us voiceover talent for our new Rediscover the Unforgettable campaign slogan and creative. So we're excited to be working with him and have his voice and audience lended to the campaign as well. So that's been doing really well for us. Some of that sponsored content that we were talking about earlier, here's an example of kind of how that looks. This was a really great one that we did with Gear Patrol that featured several partners capturing content and spreading it across the western part of the state for the audience of Gear Patrol, which is a really important segment for visitors, people looking for outdoor adventure. Gear Patrol is one of the best titles you can work with, so we're excited about that. And here's just an example of some of how that custom content and sponsored content come together. The PR team has been hard at work as well. Since we spoke last, we are working on a mountain recovery fam coming up. It'll take place next week. We're going to be in Buncombe, Avery, Yancey, and Madison counties, and parts in between as we travel and traverse. We're going to be meeting with or taking with on this trip journalists that represent the Parade, Men's Journal, Globe and Mail, and View from Atlanta. So some good opportunities for us with domestic and international media to help get the word back out there about coming back to the mountains. And I want to talk a little bit about our brand campaign updates as well. So as you guys remember, we've been running two campaigns. We've not used the Rediscover the Unforgettable campaign slogan and creative for the Piedmont on the coast. We've kept our For Real Visit NC campaign going for that. That is doing very well. As you can see from the paid performance here, we're doing a really good job of driving traffic and continuing with that message for the Piedmont and the coast. Also continuing with some of that sponsored content. So here's a great example of a piece that we did with Travel Zoo that really helps to showcase, parts unknown and getting into smaller areas and cities and towns that give the real charm and authenticity to North Carolina. And then also one thing to really mention, right now, because of the budget situation that we're in, effectively our core budget, which is currently being used to represent the coast and the Piedmont from a marketing standpoint, has been reduced 62%. The scarier proposition around that is that in December, when the Mountain Recovery Funds sunset, we will then have that same budget amount, that 62% reduction to promote all three regions of the state. And so I just want to make everyone aware that our marketing budget and net effect has gone down about 62%. And right now it's planning to stay that way. And so we're doing the best that we can to prioritize our partner programs, some of the things that we think maximize our biggest bang for our buck, some of our partnerships that we have out there. But we have the lowest amount of marketing and public relations, budget that we've had since like the early 2000s right now. So we're doing the best that we can to prioritize things, but we've had to scale back significantly on our efforts to make sure that we are doing the best we can right now, and that we're really gearing up for January when we're going to have to use that same amount to promote the entire state and make sure we spread that love evenly and across everybody's regions. So just want to kind of make everybody aware of our budget situation right now. And unfortunately, that makes us the least funded state in the Southeast and one of the least funded state tourism offices in the country. So we're hopeful that the legislature will work to pass a state budget and include tourism and Visit North Carolina in that budget. But that's kind of where the holdup lies, is our funding comes from the general legislature, and until a broader state budget is passed, we don't receive additional funds. So next step. Okay, on a more happier note, our new website is getting really, 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 really close to launching. So for those of you that were at the conference, you remember we talked about it, but for those that haven't or need a little bit of a refresher, we're excited to launch the new visitnc.com website. We're going to be talking about it more on upcoming webinars here as well. But our goal with the new website is really to stay top funnel and make sure that we're inspiring travelers to think about and consider North Carolina. And then we want you all to play the role that you have in helping to inspire them and compare different destinations within North Carolina, and then ultimately get down to the booking stage, whether that's through your website or through some of your local partners. So we're staying up here in the inspiration phase with the new website, and some of the decisions that we made around the content for it will align with that strategy moving forward. A couple of things that we're trying to do with it. Again, inspiration, convincing people to choose North Carolina first and foremost, driving traffic down to partners, whether that's the local DMO or whether that's directly to a hotel or an attraction in the state, capturing first-party data, which is extremely important to us moving forward, to have a database and an audience of our own that we can use and deploy, and that we could even work with you all to reach as well, so that we're not relying on purely paid advertising to go out there and reach people. And then also merging our industry and media sites. So once the new website launches, you will not have to go to media.visitnc.com, partners.visitnc.com to find everything. It'll all be in one place, and you can find everything at visitnc.com. So we're really excited about that merger as well. And then also helping to prioritize inspiration, as we mentioned before, on our site over booking. Booking is down funnel when we get them down to you guys and your partner site. Next slide. A little bit of kind of what it's going to look like. These are some of our new improved, user interface experiences that people are going to see. So we've worked really hard to make this visual focused. It is a mobile first website. It was designed mobile first because over 75% of our website traffic is coming from mobile right now. And so we're designing it with that audience in mind to work faster, load better, and provide, more mobile friendly experience when people are on it. Next slide. Here's kind of what the desktop version might look like for those 25% of people that still check out our website on a laptop. Next slide. And just a couple examples of some of the new content buckets that we're going to have. We're really working on quality of our content over quantity. So we are going to have a smaller website moving forward, less total pages that we have that exist, which is going to make it easier for Google and for chatbots to crawl it and find it and use it and source it. And part of the way we're doing that, as we mentioned before, is getting rid of the listings that we have on our website. So moving forward, the only listings that will remain are events. We won't have listings for individual businesses, hotels, attractions, restaurants on our site moving forward. And that's one way that we're streamlining it and making it faster and stronger and better, and not competing with Google, frankly, who does those things much better than us. So it'll be one less thing you have to upkeep on our website if you are a DMO partner moving forward. So what does this mean for you? Higher referrals, hopefully quality, better quality referrals when they come through. Your content and your opportunity to shine is going to be more important than ever with these new content features. Driving interest and helping get people down to you guys to close the deal and actually book those trips. And then at the end of the day, hopefully something that's a little bit more inspiring, a little more intuitive with our new user interface, and better supports our goals and your goals moving forward. So we're very excited for this new website to launch very, 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 very soon. Our PR team outside of Mountain Recovery has also been very, very busy over the summer months here. A couple of things that we've been attending. Went to PRSA Travel and Tourism Conference. Also had some partners that joined for that one. That's a great conference. If you guys are not familiar with it, I couldn't recommend attending it enough. It's a good dual benefit of professional development for yourself, as well as a chance to meet with some of the top travel journalists that exist in North America. Also attended IPW. We've got a German mountain recovery fam, as we've mentioned before. Part of the recovery efforts for the West, we have carved out a portion of those $14 million to help with international travel coming back. So one of those efforts was putting together a German mountain recovery fam, and then we were also at ESTO with several partners as well, working on growth for ourselves, as well as meeting with some really good quality leads in Arizona-based media that were there in the Phoenix area. A couple examples of some of the coverage that we've had recently. We've been doing really strong with Travel and Leisure, Maxim, some really big outlets, and getting a lot of good exposure across the state for partners, and we'll continue that efforts working with our PR firm JPR to do so. Where are we going in the next couple months? We've got a mountain recovery fan we talked about. We'll have our in-state media mission. Thank you to everyone that's going to be attending that October 7th here in Raleigh. Then we go to Atlanta for a media mission, New York. Then the big announcement will be in South Carolina for the announcement of the Michelin Guide to the American South. And we're really excited to see what restaurants and chefs get lifted up across North Carolina to be featured in the first ever Michelin Guide for the state. As a result of that, we will be immediately implementing a FAM trip to the destinations that are featured within the Michelin Guide to get some of the first ever reservations at these new Michelin starred restaurants for our state. So we're excited about that opportunity and have some pretty high level culinary media that will be attending that FAM. The PR team has also been able to backfill very long needed open positions. So we're really excited to have our newest team member join us, and that's Emily Prickett. Emily came to us from NC State. She is a very smart, very sharp individual that's going to be part of our team and help us with dedicated efforts on FAMs and press itineraries and working with stories, all kind of our proactive media pitching and sales efforts that we're doing out there is helping Vita on her team is what Emily will be working on. If you guys have not had a chance to meet her yet, please reach out. She'd love to get out and say hi and introduce herself, and she'll be working real closely again with Vita and Suzanne and myself on the PR team. Also, just a reminder to everybody about our co-op program. As I mentioned, even though our budget has been significantly reduced, we are prioritizing the co-op program. So we still have a lot of co-op opportunities out there, everything from research and insights that Marlise and her team can put together to social media and advertising and audits of your own social media or website, custom content. As we roll out the new website, we hope you guys are real excited to get involved and see how you can get some of your content lifted up and featured more prominently on the new website here again, really, really, really soon. So just want to remind you guys of the co-op program. If you're interested in learning more about any of that, you can reach out to me individually, or you can go to our existing partners website and learn more. Yeah, either one, but we'd love to help get you guys plugged in. Okay. And I think that's it for me. I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Gaster next. So, Guy, I'll hand it back to you, Executive Director of the North Carolina Film Office.
Thanks, Scott. So yeah, as we take a look at production spending, some of you may have seen an announcement was made yesterday by the governor's office that was kind of updating on film grants specifically. So when we combine those productions along with some projects that the film office has been working with that don't necessarily qualify for the grants, we're sitting at about 138 million being spent in state so far this year. Again, that is trending a little lower, but that is something that is happening much like the lodging that was discussed by Marlise and Witt. Production in the U.S. overall is down, and there is more shooting overseas and in foreign countries. So we are, all things considered, doing well for a state our size. But it is well under where we had hoped to be in that 250 to 300 million annually. And of course, as always, jobs usually correspond with the spending. So you can see we're at about 4,600 jobs being created so far. When we look at what is shooting, we do have Top Chef season 23 that's currently shooting in the greater Charlotte area. We have a feature, The Bard, that just wrapped up production in the Piedmont Triad area of the state. And then a small independent feature, May and the Woodsman, is shooting in both the Piedmont Triad and the Northwest portions of the state. And you can see some of the bigger productions that have also shot earlier this year. So a few additional notes just to keep you up to date on what's going on. We did have three features that were selected for the Toronto International Film Festival, and two have screened. One is about to screen. Roofman, starring Channing Tatum. We had Christie, which was with Sydney Sweeney. Excuse me. And then a project that just shot earlier this year. Both of the previous features shot towards the second half of last year. But one of the ones that just shot this year, Driver's Ed, was also selected and was screening there. We continue to work with the Cucaloris Foundation and their Filmed in NC Fund. We're proud to sponsor this, and this is a fund that is a true grant offering some startup funding for lower budget productions from in-state and North Carolina University student residents or students. So that opportunity is available. Cucaloris had a call for applications for submissions for that funding, and we'll be reviewing them. And if I'm not mistaken, should be announcing the latest round of selectees coming up at their festival in November down in Wilmington. And then finally, we do have a film subcommittee that has been created that's part of the legislature's Economic Development and Foreign Trade Caucus. That group has had 3 meetings to date, and just taking a look at how the film industry is faring right now, how our incentive is working compared to other states, and what may or may not need to be done as North Carolina looks at its return on value with the incentives, as well as the trying to grow the industry. And then just wanted to update, like PR, the film office has also had a new staff member join us, backfilling a position. LaShawn Cook has come in as our film services manager. LaShawn is serving as our main point person once productions are on the ground in the state. So he is assisting with permits. As many of you know, we do not, as the state film office, actually issue permits, but LaShawn helps put the productions in touch with the permitting agency, whether that's the Department of Transportation or your local city managers' offices or county managers. He will also be overseeing our locations library. So if there are new or even older locations that somehow we've missed, that you feel would be a great addition to our library and what we use to pitch potential projects, please let him know, and he will help oversee our crew directory. LaShawn is returning home. He considers Raleigh his hometown, and he most recently was working with the City of Atlanta's Film and Entertainment Office within the mayor's office. So you can reach LaShawn there at LaShawn@filmnc.com. And then finally, because you guys have asked in the past, here are some of the recent projects that shot in the state within the last 2 or 3 years, and where you can see them as they have now become available. In particular, The Summer I Turned Pretty continues to be one of Amazon's top performing series, with new episodes coming out each Wednesday. If you have been following along, we've got one episode left, if I'm not mistaken, before the series that will be the series finale. So if you don't have plans this weekend, it's a great chance to get caught up and see a lot of great locations featured there. Also, a new series, The Runarounds, is now on Amazon Prime. And then the aforementioned Roofman and Christie, which were at the Toronto International Film Festival this week. They are in theaters, with Roofman coming out October 3rd and Christie coming out November 7th. With that, I will turn it over to bring back Whit for an introduction.
Thanks so much, Guy. That's really amazing what film has done. And if you look at flight searches for Wilmington and North Carolina, thanks to The Summer I Turned Pretty, they've gone up about 300%. It's yet to see if that'll translate into travel, but it really shows you the impact film can have on a destination when we have it in our state. And so make sure you get out and watch all those things. Make sure they're very popular and successful, so we can get them back to film again and help the state. Partner in industry relations, as many of you know, Heidi Walters, who had worked for us for almost 20 years, retired recently. So we opened that position up. We had a fantastic candidates apply for it, but thrilled to say that the best candidate was our very own Amanda Baker, who's been named our partner in industry relations director. So she's going to start handling all those aspects: retire, outdoor NC, the esports grant, sports, anything else I throw at her generally. That's going to be her gig. So please welcome Amanda Baker to handle partner in industry relations.
Thank you. I'm very excited about this new chapter and the opportunities that lie ahead, working alongside all of you all as our partners, industry stakeholders, and the Visitancy team has been incredibly rewarding. And I'm looking forward to continuing our journey together to enhance our tourism efforts for North Carolina. So we'll kick things off with talking about a partnership with the Outdoor NC and Visitancy team. Worked alongside Dana with the Gear Junkie and Visitancy sweepstakes. In collaboration with Outdoor NC, we worked with the Gear Junkies on a sweepstakes that was designed to spotlight the state's exceptional outdoor experiences. This campaign highlighted several Outdoor NC tourism partners by showcasing the best of North Carolina's natural aspects through 4 giveaways featuring iconic experiences, including whitewater paddle, cycling, surfing, and urban adventure. It reached a highly engaged audience and included highlighting North Carolina's reputation as a top-tier outdoor destination and amplifying that. Everyone was encouraged to leverage this sweepstakes by sharing it through their own channels and helping extend that reach and welcoming new visitors. On the Outdoor NC front, we have been onboarding and orienting our partners with the new program that started this fiscal year. We also had onboarding meetings for the different tiers of partners participating. We have 8 Guardian partners this year, 33 Champion partners, 8 Pioneer, and 2 statewide partners, with more statewide partners collaborations in process as well. But this is our largest class of individuals who have participated in the Outdoor NC program, so very excited about that. We also launched the version of our official Trail Town Guide at the end of August. And here you can see many of our outdoor NC partners that are participating. I do want to call out the Great Trail State Coalition as they are one of our partners, and we have the Great Trail State Day coming up in October. So another opportunity to just talk about that responsible recreating when visiting those outdoor trails in North Carolina. But thank you to all of our partners who do participate. Without you all, we could not do the work that we do. Now we'll talk a little bit about Sports NC, and more specifically what we have going on in the esports world. We had the Raleigh Major, which took place at the Lenovo Center in North Carolina, which of course is home to professional ice hockey. It hosted 16 of Rocket League's best teams competing for their share of quite a large prize pool. And they did take advantage of one of our esports grants, which is a collaboration with the Department of Commerce and working as a liaison with that to help elevate our esports program within the state. So if you have interest in that, there is a link that will be dropped in the chat for you to learn more. And of course, you can always reach out to me. And in addition to that, the partner and industry relations teams is out and about. Andre has been participating in the Ocean City Jazz Festival in Onslow County, as well as the Capital City Juneteenth celebration, and recently meeting with the historic Magnolia House on some different projects that they have going on as well. More specifically, speaking to the Retire program, we are working on the 2026 Retire NC Guide for all the 16 participating towns and additional communities throughout the state of North Carolina. If you have any questions about those programs, please feel free to reach out to Andre. In addition to that, I had the opportunity to attend the TTRA International Conference with Marlise and Ashton, held in Galway, Ireland. Marlise moderated a couple of different sessions that had hundreds of tourism researchers. These sessions focused on a variety of topics, including attributing modeling, survey modeling, and the effects of budget on cuts of research. In addition, I spoke on a panel with Marlise and Dr. Hannah Gagel. She was the West Virginia University student who worked with us on the project relating to accessibility in our outdoor spaces. And Ashton also attended and participated in the Great Debate, which was a closing session with 6 emerging leaders from across TTRA membership that took the stage to exchange ideas, including complex topics around sustainability, accessibility, and over-tourism. Also, in May, Andre spoke at different variety of panels, including the North Carolina Revolutionary Road Trips screening in Raleigh, and that did pertain to the PBS series Travels with Darley. And we'll drop a link in the chat as well for the YouTube channel to watch one of those episodes too. And I will kick it back over to Whit.
All right. Welcome, Amanda, and thank you for all that great update. We're really excited about the America's 250th continuing celebration. We'll have a special page on the new website and some other activities to help enhance the promotion that all you local tourism offices do around that anniversary. Just want to give a save the date. Don't forget our 2026 State Tourism Conference is coming up in March 16th to 18th at the Grove Park Inn in Asheville. The room block is not ready yet, and the reservations aren't open. They'll be open sometime later this fall. But make sure to get those calendar dates on your schedule on your calendar. We are shifting to that Monday start rather than the Sunday evening start for this conference. So be aware that that is a change from last year. Our next webinar coming up October 9th will be Travel PR Trends for 2026. A great chance to find out what's going on, what's hot, what travel media are looking for, and how to have that ready from your destination to get those writers to write about your place. Now we're going to answer some questions. Guy will relate any ones that come to us while I'm doing this, but I noticed there was one in earlier about our budget. So it is very convoluted, but let me explain it as best I can. Our budget for this fiscal year that we're in now, started July 1st, is $11.4 million. The budget last year was $21.4 million. So we've essentially lost half our budget. As Scott said, it comes out to about 62% of that marketing ability we were able to do. None of these numbers include the recovery money that we talked about. Those recovery dollars are all going to this recovery campaign, specifically in areas that aren't necessarily our typical feeder markets. They're really relating to Western North Carolina, not the state as a whole. Most of those funds have already been spent and will be used by the end of this year. So I don't include those in any of our budget calculations. They don't go to help us pay for salaries. They don't pay for anything. We just specifically use them for advertising and some research on the effectiveness of that advertising. So what's happened is our budget last year was $21.4 million. $10 million of that were non-recurring dollars that we received every year for the last 3 years. When a state budget wasn't passed, all those non-recurring dollars go away. The recurring funding that we've had essentially since I got here 20 years ago, it's about $11.4 million. So we maintained that. We're essentially at the same budget level we were at 20 years ago. We lost all the $10 million. They were actually in the Senate's budget. They were not in the House's budget. However, neither of those budgets were actually passed. A few years ago, the state passed legislation that says if they don't pass a budget, all the recurring funding happens again and the non-recurring funding goes away. Therefore, we lost any chance of getting the additional $10 million. If a budget is passed, the legislature has been passing mini budgets. The potential is for them to put that into a mini budget. That has not happened yet. We would encourage everyone to obviously let our legislators know how important it is for us to have those funding. As you can see, during times of economic uncertainty, losing more than half of our marketing budget is not an ideal situation. So that's where we are with the budget. Guy, do we have anything else?
Yes, one actually for me. How can we see the current film library to make sure any venues, what's currently there and what may need to be updated or added? You are certainly welcome to see any public locations by going to filmnc.com, and you can click on the locations icon at the bottom of the page and then search the locations, and you can narrow that search down even down to by county. So you certainly can look there, or feel free to reach out to LaShawn as shared earlier, and LaShawn can put together what we call a locations package and send you a link, and that would have all the locations, both public and private, that we have on file, and you can take a look at those. Excellent. There was a question before on if a copy of the webinar or the deck would be available, and we are, as always, recording this, and we'll make this available on the partners YouTube page, which can also be accessed by our partners page, and we will include a link to the deck on that summary, so you have a month to download it, if you will, and if you need it after that, feel free to reach out to any of us, and we can certainly forward that deck to you then as well. One other question that came in, Amanda, for the Trailtown program, when is the next window to join if we're not already part of it?
If you are not a statewide partner, so you're looking at a DMO or TDA sort of champion, guardian, or pioneer level, it does run on the fiscal year, so it has closed for this fiscal year, but we will roll out the next iteration of it at conference, and you can start signing up there, and then we'll onboard you and provide you with orientation starting in July of the next fiscal year.
Awesome.
I also just like to talk a little about what's going on with hurricane recovery a little more. For partners in the western part of the state, we are doing another call for partners to talk about specifically what's happening on Friday. But just so everyone knows, what we're calling the milestone is coming up. So that's going to be the 1-year anniversary. You're likely to see a lot of coverage of the hurricane, what's happened since the hurricane, what's open, what's closed. our goal is going to be to focus on what's open, what's back, and what's happening now, what's available. I would appreciate if everyone, if you're out there and you see things on social media that aren't not accurate or that are showing old footage, just post in there and remind people of the fact that it is old footage and that things are open now. What we've seen at the 6-month anniversary was that a lot of people reposted flooding images and things like that, and people were confused and thought that was happening right now. So we want to make sure people understand that the vast majority of places in North Carolina are open and ready to host visitors, even though we hit this milestone, and you're likely to see a lot of the footage from last year. So thanks. Guy, do we have anything else?
Nothing has come, nothing else. So last call for questions here. If not, looks like we've covered most of it. So again, thank you all for attending, and we do hope that you will join us again next month as we look at some of the travel trends for 2026. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great day.